So after posting that video yesterday, it dawned on me that, I should come up with a better name for this staring technique I use to rebuild the dream back out. Calling it something else besides simply just staring at an object, which I've referred to it in the past like that, because it does seem like in some situations, simply just staring at an object in a dream could actually cause a dream to break down and do the exact opposite thing I'm intending it to do for you guys, right? So a name that popped into my head that I thought fit pretty good was active staring or maybe active gazing. I don't know. I think they both sound pretty good. Probably interchangeable anyway. Something else that popped into my head is, if you're too young or even if you're not that young, but you still never heard of this magic eye shit, you might be thinking, what was he even talking about towards the end of that video to really try and practice this active gazing approach I'm talking about. So a couple other ways I could describe it would be like this. There's a way to look at an object in front of you and keep it in focus, but there's also a way to kind of just, you're still looking at that object, but you're really kind of focusing more on your peripheral. So you kind of like blur everything out or you keep a really wide gaze. So it'd be like switching between that type of view and then bringing it into focus and then kind of bringing a nice wide gaze back again, then bringing the object back into focus. That could be one way to think about it. Another one, which, could seem a bit strange, but it does seem pretty similar to me is, sometimes when you'll be looking at like a wall with this random pattern in it and you'll see like a face all of a sudden, pop out in the randomness, right? So a lot of times that will happen just randomly, but you can also kind of search for that perspective if you just kind of stare at, the wall for a while and let your eyes kind of get that wide view again. And then all of a sudden you might see a face pop out, right? So there's a way to actually search for those types of perspectives or kind of have that face pop out. It's a kind of like a daytime exercise you can do for that. But something that I thought was a little bit different that I still find kind of helpful. I don't know, I find it helpful for just other things like even concentration purposes. But if you happen to see that face pop out, instead of bringing it back into focus again and then blurring your vision out again, like I said with the earlier technique, what I would try to do there is to simply hold that perspective of seeing that face in the randomness as long as you can. Kind of think of it as like a little mini open eye meditation to try and keep that perspective and hold that image as long as you can before you lose it inevitably. And then perhaps if you wanted to try it again, diffuse your gaze, stare at that object, wait for another face or maybe the same face or design to pop out of the randomness, and then practice again holding that perspective.